Today is day 53 of the podcast, and we're going to step back and take a bigger look at this whole rock water imagery. And so the first time water is brought forth from the rock is at Horeb. It's at the beginning of their wilderness journey. Israel's brought into relationship with the Lord, and this relationship is going to need to be relearned. It's a relationship of dependence. And Israel is going to have to learn this relationship in the wilderness instead of in a garden. And keep in mind that this is not the promised land. This is an in-between place that God is really making them and drawing them once more and retraining them as sons. The rock is struck again at Kadesh. And that word means holiness. It's a place set apart. It's really the entry place to the promised land. It's just prior to the Jordan River. And they remain here a long time. This is a place where it's a long-term camping trip. And it was never designed that they should stay here this long. Now, if we view these two scenarios as markers on our own journey of walking in the Spirit, let's look at the first encounter. The first encounter with thirst brings them to Christ, who must be sacrificed in order for them to live again. That's the first rock where God goes and stands on the rock and is struck, and water comes forth. But after that initial striking of the rock, Israel is given the law at Mount Sinai. There is to be a period of time where they are tutored by the law. And I want to read Galatians 4, 1 through 6 in context of this. Now I say, as long as the heir is a child, he does not differ at all from a slave, although he's owner of everything. But he's under guardians and managers until the date set by the father. So also we, while we were children, were held in bondage under the elemental things of the world. But when the fullness of the time came, God sent forth his Son, born of a woman, born under the law, in order that he might redeem those who were under the law, that we might receive the adoption as sons. And because you're sons, God has sent forth the Spirit of his Son into our hearts, crying, Abba, Father. There is a transition from being tutored to being led by the Spirit, from being tutored by the law to being led by the Spirit. And as believers, the law has been fulfilled in Christ, but it is a tutor for us as we're learning to walk by the life of the indwelling Spirit and having the law written on our hearts. The law, the written law, is a tutor, but it's only supposed to be until we regain this restoration of our lost capacities and understand this walking by the Spirit once more. This journey of learning to depend and be led by the Spirit, it wasn't supposed to take 40 years. So I want to ask you this question. After salvation, after your own salvation, what was the greatest factor in teaching you dependence upon the Lord?